Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
This is Big Weir, roadtoro.com. There is fraud everywhere in silver. Every official number is complete fraud, fakery. I'll get to that in a second. The Silver Institute just changed all their numbers for last year, so this year doesn't look so bad. It's not a mistake. They did it on purpose. I was looking for these numbers, like the photovoltaic and the auto numbers. They're blowing out every record, and there is a war right now. There is a war. It's part of the play. It's not a war. They're saying all the green energy companies are going bankrupt. They aren't going to survive, blah, blah, blah. Why are they doing that? Because we have a United Nations conference coming up where they have decided already to triple the amount of green energy to be employed. And they have agreed to spend money to do it. So they're all going to come rescue these poor, unfortunate green energy companies in order to save the world. So print money to save the world is what they've already decided. So the whole industry is saying, oh my God, electric cars are falling off, solar power is falling off, companies are going bankrupt. California even stopped. Here's crazy. California cuts rooftop solar subsidies, will blow in a blow to green energy. So even California, the greenest of all green, Gavin Newsom hasn't seen a calculator in his life saying everybody has to be driving electric cars by 2030. They're even taking away their subsidies. This is all part of a plan. And the plan is to look like that green energy is on its knees by the time the UN conference comes out, because they got to pump trillions of dollars to triple the amount of green energy we have. Of course, nobody looks at how much silver there is. But oh my God, this just pisses me off beyond belief. So the Silver Institute came out with their global silver demand forecast to achieve new highs in 2023. This is they come to the end of the year and they change all their numbers for this year, for their expectations, to make it look like they knew what they were doing. They didn't. They didn't know what they were doing. And I was screaming about it for a very long time. But here's the problem. The Silver Institute has changed last year's numbers and the year before's numbers to make it look like everything's equal balanced. This is fraud. This is flat out fraud. So the Silver Institute gets with Metals Focus, and they do this chart every year. Mind you, it is the industry standard. This is the one everyone looks at, the supply demand. So you would think there would be some integrity in this chart. And here's a few things they said. Silver industrial demand is expected to grow by 8% to a record 632 million ounces. I'm like, 8%? What are you talking about? It's up 15%. Overall, photovoltaics are blowing out. Cars are blowing out. What are they talking about? 8%. And I looked at the number, 632 million. That's not 8%. What are they talking about? So I went back to the chart, the final numbers for 2022, and I'm looking at it. It says, wait a minute, it's 556.5 million ounces for industrial total, and that's going to 632 million ounces. That's not 8%. That's like 13%. That's almost double the percentage. So I go back. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Their forecast for 2023 was a 4% growth. And now they're saying it's 8%. It's actually 13% because, look, here's 2022. These numbers are supposed to be set in stone. 556.5 million ounces of silver was used in industrial, according to all the professionals. And you take how does it get from there to there to 632 million ounces? That's a 13.3% gain. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Did they change their numbers? Yes, they did. To make it look better, to make it look somehow the silver industry is there's no problem, no shortage of silver. Don't worry. If there's a shortage, it's a small one. Here's how I know. Look at the numbers. 2022, set in stone, right? Set in stone. It was already recorded, everything. And you go back years, and they're all the same. Industrial demand. Right here, industrial demand, total industrial demand, right here. It's the same entity. So 2020, let's look at 2020, 509 million ounces in 2020, right? 509 million ounces in 2020. 509, or 2018, 509. Did they change that too? Holy shit. Hold on. Let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. This is 2020. 2020, 509. 2020, they changed it. Holy crap, 488. So they bumped it up. 509 was 2019. So 2020, they got 488, right? 2020, 488, and they got 509 for it. Maybe they're just off on their numbers. Hang on. 2021, they have 559. 2021, see, here's where it completely misses. Let's go back to 2018, 511. 2018, 511. 2018, they've bumped up all industrial demand from previous years. What the hell? Let's go all the way back to 2013. 460. Oh, we don't have 13 on this one. You got to go to 2014. 450. 2014. 440. They have changed all the demand numbers. All the other numbers are fine. And you notice they don't break out electrical, photovoltaics, brazing, other industrial. But here's the kicker. 2022, last year, that's the percentage we're working off. They had it. This is the end of the year report, 556.5. They are so specific, it gets down to 0.5, 556. And they're saying 2022 industrial demand was 584 to make the percentage look not as insane. So they bumped it 40 million ounces. Please explain yourself, Silver Institute. That's a 13.3% gain, not an 8% gain. And then they they just plug in shit from then on out. For example, jewelry they have going down massively. Let me just read it to you. Global total silver demand is forecast to ease by 10% to reach 1.14 billion ounces in 2023, even though everything is blowing out on the industrial side. Gains in industrial applications will be offset by losses in other key segments. Despite the fall, total demand remains elevated, making 2023 figure the second highest in metal-focused data series. Industrial demand in 2023, demand in 2023 will achieve a new annual high. As noted above, key drivers in this growth are being driven by strong green economy, including investment in photovoltaics, solar grids, 5G networks, as well as increased use of automotive electronics and supporting infrastructure. Improvements in photovoltaics were particularly noticeable as the increase in cell production exceeded silver thrifting, which helped drive electronics and electronic demand higher. I've been screaming that all year. They were so far off, but now they're massaging all their numbers to make it look like they're not that far off. And I'm sure they have an explanation. They always, if they're going to change the numbers, you better have a way to tell the public why you've messed with the numbers. And then everything else is a plug. Everything else is a plug number, a guess. Jewelry, obviously they don't know how much silver's gone into jewelry, silverware, photography. They have no idea. And they just plug off the last numbers and they plug at what they think. So they needed those to go down because supply and demand do not match. Supply is pretty much flat or going down a little. I think they even said that at the beginning of the report. Let's see. Where do they talk about supply? In 2023, global mined silver production is expected to fall by 2% to 820 million ounces. 820 million. So their expected 840 doesn't work. You got to when their numbers don't work, they got to change something else. So it's basically flat from 2022 because of the mine closures and because of everything. I mean, go back to 2014. There's 882. I mean, silver mine production is flat. Nobody's finding any gigantic silver mines. And if they do, it's going to take 10 years to get them into operation. And then recycling is, it's kind of a guess. These guys just guess. And but the problem is the demand side on the industrial is so obvious that they're struggling to figure out what to do. So what did they do? They changed the numbers. They changed their historical numbers drastically on industrial demand. Please explain yourself. This is just ridiculous. 2022, 556.5 million ounces was used in industrial demand. 2022. Oh, it's 584 now. Why did they change them all? Because these numbers don't work. It's actually a 13.3% increase, not 8%. So what did they do? They had a hard time. I mean, obviously this one's a lie too. The 632 is probably closer to 800 million ounces, but we don't talk about that. The problem is they were going to see such massive increases, they had to change all their past numbers. That's fraud. Please explain yourself. Please explain yourself. And then these are just made up numbers. Silverware's made up, net physical investments made up, net hedging's made up. And then I love they even say they make up the market balance. Market balance, less ETPs. Market balance means the numbers don't work, so we're going to fudge it. So they're saying there's 140 million ounce shortfall this year. Not as bad as the 253. It's probably 300 or 400 million. They don't even count physical investment by you and I. So that's where we are. The Silver Institute has done it once again. And again, what's going on with solar and green energy, all those companies, everybody's saying, oh my God, it's so dire. The world's going to end because, Greta told us the world was going to end. All the companies that make green energy are saying, oh no, my God, we don't have any money. We're going to go bankrupt unless you give us billions and trillions of dollars. And oh, by the way, it's already been agreed upon to give them billions of trillions of dollars in the 2023 United Nations Climate Change Conference, the COP28, coming up at the end of the month. This is the announcement I was talking about. They're going to announce they're going to be printing money to triple the size of green energy. Triple. And John Kerry is in charge of that for the United States. They've already agreed it. They've already signed the contracts. It's already a done deal. This is just ceremonial. Where are you going to get triple the industrial, even the rig numbers? Where are you going to get triple that number there, 632? Where are you going to get triple? Where are you going to get anything? And what happens as the price of silver rises? Investors start buying. Your uncle's going to come to you and say, oh my God, can you get me some silver? Your neighbors, can you get me some silver? Can you get me some silver? You give me saying, dude, I've been screaming at you for how many years now? Get your own silver. Save your own soul. Oh my God. These people piss me off. I can't wait till Jeffrey Christian comes out to explain this one. There might be a good explanation, but I mean, they're saying total industrial demand. They didn't split it out. That might be their key. We didn't split it out because they'll say brazing and alloys really took a dive, minus 50%. Or increase 50. But why did they change every year? They changed every year's numbers significantly for industrial demand. And it is the same company that does it for the Silver Institute, Metals Focus. Basically, they're saying that 10 years of data that they supplied the industry, this is pretty much the only one that supplies the industry, 10 years of data, every year was wrong. And that's just on the industrial. Everything else was the same. They kept the numbers of everything else except industrial. Again, 584, 2022, 584 is what they're saying. This was a dinner last night. And they're saying they were off by, right here, 556. Off by 30 million ounces. Why? Because everything else didn't fit. And then they had to really mess with jewelry and silverware, probably. I mean, they already had it going down 15% for jewelry for no reason. And now they got it going down 22%. And silverware, this is the classic, silverware. Give me a reason why silverware, which was up 80%, and they projected down 24%, is now down 47%. And net physical investment, which was up 21%, they're saying this year is down. This is you and I. This is the net part is they have no idea what the number is, so they plug it in. They went from plus 21% to minus 21%. Whereas they had their projections minus 7%. They got some explaining to do. There might be an answer. I don't know. Maybe they found a new industry that they're adding to industrial that had 40 million ounces that they didn't know about. And they had to go back and why did all their data change for industrial demand for silver? Especially now, when solar and electric cars and hybrid cars and regular cars, even regular cars are doubling, tripling the amount of silver they use because of all the new electronic features in just a regular car. It all needs silver. So their total demand, they say, is going down 10%. That's such a crock of horse shit. And you can see where well, I didn't think they did, and then I went and checked the numbers. I'm like, holy shit. They bumped up industrial from the past because the percentages didn't fit. What if this said 13% rise while silver's in a deficit? Wouldn't everybody jump up and down? Of course they would. I mean, 8% is bad enough. So, yeah, the fraud continues. Again, part of the play, here's demonize. Here, the massive play is going to play out very soon. Very soon. When the UN comes out and says we have to triple green production, we're going to print money to do that. Every country has just signed an agreement to do that. I don't know where the money's coming from. Probably the U.S. or the IMF or the World Bank or these, criminal organizations. What is going to happen to the price of silver if all these companies and all these states that are, we can't afford to do green energy, the world's going to end in 10 years. What are we going to do? We're going to print money and create more. So, yeah, if you're looking at, if you're a stock person and you're looking at shorting any of the green energy stocks, good luck with that. This is a single announcement. They're going to say, we have all agreed to triple that production, triple the amount of green energy we have by 2030 or some ridiculous date. There's no silver for that, my friends. Of course, the price won't go up because it's rigged. And there's all these plant articles. Are Americans falling out of love with electronic vehicles? What are you talking about? Ask anybody with an electric vehicle. Ask anybody with an electric vehicle, how do they like their vehicle, as long as they have a decent one. Let's just stick with Tesla, the best out there. Ask anybody with a Tesla whether or not they like their Tesla. The only people who don't like electric vehicles are people who have never experienced an electric vehicle. And no, nobody's pissed off that they have to sit in a Tesla charging station and watch Netflix for 20 minutes so that their car completely recharges for pennies on the dollar. And I get the energy is made with fossil fuels and all that bullshit. I get it. But nobody is falling out of love with electric vehicles other than the media is trying to tell you they are because they have this big plan ahead. And they can't even do it in the data. Look at the data. Look at this. It's just exploding. Electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. The data is just exploding. Why are they saying they're falling in love? Look, I mean, electric cars, they're up 30% this year. Right here. Look at it. Okay, January. They did 79 plus 15, 94. From 94,000 vehicles to now, which is 130. How can you say they're falling out of love? And this is while the interest rates were exploding higher. Imagine if the interest rates were low, like they're coming down. They're about to come down when the banks run out of money again. The Fed's going to panic. Don't worry. How can you say an industry that jumps, 35% in the amount they're making? How could that be falling out of love? Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody who has an electric vehicle. As long as it's one that was made well. There's a lot of, car companies try to get into the electric vehicle business and have no brain about how to do it. But they'll make it anyway because their customers are demanding it. Read Elon Musk's book about how he does it. That guy's the penny pincher of all penny pinchers. And if he thinks people charge too much for component parts, he makes them himself. He's like, fuck you, I'm going to make my own parts. It's all part of the plan. And then they're going to have the announcement come early December, COP28. We announced it is hereby we are going to save the world because we're the World Economic Forum and we're the United Nations, and it's our job so that the world doesn't be destroyed by human activity. We are going to triple the amount of green energy installations and cars and everything by 2030. And that has already been signed and agreed upon. And yes, we will pay for it. We will print money to pay for it. That's something to look forward to. The U.S. Mint, here's what's going on, guys. I told you they had stopped making it because they stopped reporting it at the beginning of November. Just Friday or Thursday night, they posted 1.3 or 1.1 million ounces made. They're supposed to post every night. That's what it says right here at the top of the thing. Sales totals by month are updated every weekday by 5 p.m. Anyway, I think the U.S. Mint is 100% cognizant of the pressure that people call in and say, what the fuck are you doing? Keep the pressure on. Call customer service, call whatever you want at the Mint. I needed customer service for the private road thing I talked about right here. A very interesting thing happened. Go check that out if you're a private road member. But, so I called customer service, and they were nice as can be. I don't think she knew who I was. And I've talked to her boss. But, I don't think, actually, Ventures Gibson is the boss of customer service. They do a great job. The U.S. Mint used to be the best mint in one of the best run businesses in the world. But no longer. Now they're fucking up left and right. So keep on them. Having the U.S. Mint told all its authorized purchasers that they're out. They can't make any more purchases of the 2023s. It's like, why? Why can't you go out and get a whole bunch of blanks today? Pay more than your average bear. You're required by law to do that. But it looks like they're going to come in right where Jack told me, Jack Sermon of the U.S. Mint Silver Eagle sales, he said around 24 million. So you got another million to make, and then they shut off in December for whatever reason. They got to change those dies, damn it. So we'll be at 24 million, which is half of what their capacity was, in 2014 or so, when they did 48 million. And Ventures Gibson is bragging that they've greatly increased the production of Silver Eagles. What? Stay on the Mint. Absolutely, stay on the Mint. Commitment of Traders report just came out. It was a weird one. Mr. Grinch, managed money there's a 20 million ounce long put on last week or last reporting week. The commercials aren't doing anything except spreads. A spread is like when you buy, you'll sell a contract this month and buy it back at the same exact time next month for whatever reason. A lot of that's going on. Ted Butler's like, that doesn't really count for anything, because both of those transactions have to be closed out at some point. So it'll just go back the other way. So he doesn't even count those. But the commercials are definitely not doing much because they can't do much. They got rid of almost 5 million ounces. It looks like, let's see, it's 10, about 5 million ounces of their short position, which is still massively elevated. And then the managed money, which is the tech traders, because we've been flirting with those moving averages, they started going long. But they haven't. They still have a pretty decent sized short position of 23,000 contracts. They got rid of some of them, but that's a pretty decent long they put on. And then where did it come from? Who took the short? Over here in the this is the BlackRock area, I call it, the non-reportables and the other reportables. These are the BlackRock issues. So yeah, they're pretty decent size short for a non-reportable, 10, 11 million ounces right here. And it's not like a handful of the same people trading back and forth. We know this. This will go away when the system breaks. And when is the system going to break? I think very soon. Big banks see another 63 billion deposit outflows last week. Remember how a bank works. When a bank loses a deposit, it's a fractional reserve system. So every deposit that comes in, every $1 billion that come in, they can lend out $9 billion at a 10-to-1 ratio, around there. I think it's a little higher now. So that's a creation of $10 billion of free money to buy houses and all this bullshit, right? When the opposite happens, their ratios get all screwed up and they got to sell off assets. That's the problem with bank deposits outflows. So of this $63 billion that flowed out of the big banks and into wherever, probably U.S. Treasuries, Treasury Direct, the banks have to cover 10-to-1, 630 billion to get their ratio back where it needs to be. And that's what we're seeing at the reverse repos. The bank in the reverse repo part of the Fed's bailout, it got up to 2.5 billion. That's cash waiting to come back to the banks. The banks take the mortgage-backed securities and the bullshit, but at any time, because these are overnight repos, they can give them back to the Fed, and the Fed gives them the cash, and they need the cash for stuff like this. So as people are fleeing the banks, which they are right now, anybody with half a brain is out of the banking system as best they can. Keep a little in there to pay rent, but this is big companies too. Massive companies, especially, oh my God, have you seen the demonization of the FDIC lately? This is all part of the plan. The FDIC will not be there for you. They have I think it's 1.5% coverage range of what they have in the DIF account, the deposit account for their insurance payouts. They have 120 billion, but they insure trillions. The FDIC will not be there. Now they're trying to demonize the FDIC so you don't trust them. I mean, if there's anybody in banking that you need to trust, it's the FDIC. And if you've seen the news lately, the FDIC is all over the news because of sex scandals and all this bullshit that was going on. Why now? Why destroy the trust in the FDIC now? Because no one's going to trust anybody anymore. So if you have money in your bank account that's below FDIC insurance, it looks like it's not going to be there, so get it out. Where do I put it, Bix? Buy physical silver and get it in your own possession for all those other reasons I told you? Contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin, or go to your local guy first. I always say that, and if you've been around me long enough, you know. You're going to be selling your silver to your local guy when you want to buy a car. You'll take an ounce of silver and say, hey, I want to buy a Ferrari. Here's my ounce of silver. Give me the cash. He's going to say, oh my God, you have physical? I'll give you the cash. So develop those relationships. If you don't have a local guy, just contact Miles Franklin, Andy Scheckman. He'll help. He's helped out so many Road to Ruta members get out of the system and get their hands on physical silver. Send them an email, info at milesfranklin.com. That's what I got for you today. Again, this is just irksome. The Silver Institute, in their big party they had, like on the 14th last week. Was that last week? Yeah. Said, it's we still have a deficit, but everything's under control, only because they changed all the industrial demand numbers. And we would like to know how all the industrial demand numbers got bumped up. And if those are the true numbers, why didn't we know them when you put the reports out starting in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17? If those are the true numbers, explain why you screwed up the first time. If these are just plug numbers because every other number is a joke anyway, they won't explain anything. Who cares if you change the numbers if they're all wrong anyway, right? Anyway, again, go to roadtoruta.com. Check out my latest post, U.S. Mint fails again, but the cover-up reveals everything. That's an interesting one. It's kind of it's an investment opportunity, shall we say. I'm not an investment advisor, but that's an investment opportunity in a screw-up that the Mint did again. And they tried to fix it, basically showing just how important it was. You want to join the Road to Ruta, go to subscribe today, and I will send you the coolest coin ever made, the Ruta Lives coin, hand-painted, individually numbered, certificate of authenticity, the whole thing. Go check it out. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.